Today we are tackling another commander from the Aether Drift set, and well, you've seen the title and the thumbnail, so you already know what it is. Let's do this. Mendicant Core and Guidelight is white and a blue for a legendary artifact creature robot. They are a star 3. Mendicant Core's power is equal to the number of artifacts you control. Start your engines. If you have no speed, it starts at 1. It increases once on each of your turns when an opponent loses life. Max speed is 4. Max speed, when you cast an artifact spell, you may pay 1 mana of any colour. If you do, copy it. The copy becomes a token. This is a fantastic commander and probably my favourite Azorius commander, if not just my favourite commander from the Aether Drift set. So how are we building the Mendicant Core Guidelight deck? We are building it as a artifact, combat and combo deck. Yeah, artifacts are just renowned for being so easily to break, so we're going to break them and we're going to have combos. At my last count, there was 18 combos in this deck, but you could quite easily put it over 20 if you just add 1 card. So if combos are your thing, this deck is going to be for you. But if combos are not your thing, there is still a lot of combat to be done with this deck. We're going to play a lot of artifact creatures, make them nice and big, they're going to be very advantageous to us, and then we're going to smash face. And I know what you're thinking, but what if you draw the wrong part of your deck at the wrong time? All the combo pieces synergize with our non-combo pieces, so they're just extra value engines on their own. So yeah, let's break this deck down and show you what I've done. But starting things off, we are running 28 creatures, 4 sorceries, 20 artifacts, 2 enchantments. We're running 37 lands, 40 including your MDFCs, and we've got 8 instants. We are running a few ways to tutor, such as Fabricate, Transit Mage, Trophy Mage, etc. We've also got the Repurposing Bay, and lots of ways to cycle through our deck with Mystic Forge, Crystal Skull, and the Reality Chip. Yeah, this is going to make sure we can get our key pieces when we need our key pieces, or at least sift through to find them as quick as possible. So, I'm going to break this deck apart into sections so you can see all the card draw synergies and everything like that. Let's do that now. So kicking things off with card draw, we've got Esper Sentinel, Sensei's Divining Top, we've got Thought Cast, Thought Monitor, we've got Aether Sworn Sphinx, which allows us to cascade, Idol of Oblivion, because we're going to be making some tokens, so let's draw some cards as well. Thram, because Thram's Spastic. Reality Chip, we've got the new Voyage Home, Emery Lurker of the Lock to allow us to cast things from our graveyard, getting all that stuff back. We've got Midnight Clock to refill our hands if games go long. We've got Mirrodin Besiege, which is just a fantastic card and also a combo piece. Sign Master Thopterist, we've got Crystal Skull, we've got the Mystic Forge, we've got Padim, we've got Shurikai Genesis Engine, Solum, Simulacrum, Thought Spy Network, and we've also got the Veldelkian Archmage. So yeah, plenty of ways to make sure we are getting enough cards in hand at all times. So to make sure we can cast all of these cards that we've just drawn, we've got Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Azorius Cygnus, we've got the Ethereum Sculptor, we've got Felwar Stone, Talisman of Progress, we've got Thought Vessel, we've got Cloud Key, we've got Foundry Inspector, Galarian Fleshraker, we've got Midnight Clock, Jahora's Familiar, and of course we've got Krark Clan Ironworks, or KCI as most people know this. We've got Solemn Simulacrum and Thran Dynamo, because obviously colourless mana is what we're going to need. So let's start talking about how we're going to get max speed to copy artifacts and start putting pressure on our opponents to win game. And we're going to do that through combat. So we've got Gingerbrute, Nesting Bot, Steel Overseer to make everything nice and big. We have got Urza's Liberator. We've got Nettlecyst, which is just going to be absolutely huge in this. Remember, you don't need to equip this because it comes on a germ because of Living Weapon. We've got Nautiloid Ship, which is just a fantastic thing. We've got Phyrexian Metamorph to just be whatever we need it to be, more card advantage, more ramp, more big creatures. We've got the Sky Sovereign, fantastic vehicle. We've got Cyberdrive Awakener, and we've got Mere Battlesphere. So with a lot of combat damage being dealt, stuff's going to go to the graveyard, and a lot of it is artifact based, so we might need to get it back. Mere Retriever, Emery Lurker are going to do a fantastic job of doing that. Mirrodin Besiege will just basically say you lose the game if that happens. Scrap Toilet allows us to get more stuff back, and same with Nautiloid Ship. So yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff. And we've spoke about a couple of vehicles now, so let's find some extra ways to crew them, shall we? It's at this point in the video that I'd just like to quickly say thank you very much for watching. If you're enjoying yourself, hit that like button, it really helps out. And if you'd like deck tech videos and want to see more of them, consider hitting the subscribe button, because hey, that's what I do. And yeah, that's it. Let's go on to the next bit. So as I was saying, to make sure we are not tapping down our valuable creatures to crew our vehicles, we're going to use Mirrodin Besiege. Obviously this time we will choose the Mirian version of the card. We've got Simulacrum Synthesizer to make more constructs. We've got Shurikai Genesis Engine to make more pilots plus draw more cards, and obviously we've got Thopter Sky Network to make Thopters to crew our vehicles and obviously draw more cards. Yeah, we're never going to be short of drawing cards or crewing our vehicles in this deck. So now, how are we dealing with our opponent's stuff? Well, it's quite simple really. We're going to dispatch it, we're going to Swords to Plowshare, and if there's too much, we're going to cast Organic Extinction. Remember, this looks like it's a 10 mana spell. It's not, it's just 2 because it's got to improvise. Yeah, if they've got any nasty artifacts, we're just going to resculpt them. Generous Gift and Stroke of Midnight will hit all of our non-land permanents, or Generous Gift will actually get rid of those nasty lands if anybody plays them. Sink into Stupor is just a fantastic MDFC that you should always consider if you play a lot of blue. Desynchronize, this is just great in this deck because it's going to bounce all non-historic spells or non-historic permanents to their owner's hands. Yeah, artifacts are historic, so we get to keep our board. Everybody else, goodbye. 4 mana, fantastic. And then Sky Sovereign, another fantastic card, because obviously when it ever attacks, or when it ETBs even, it's going to deal 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker opponent's control, making sure we're clearing that way to get through, to get our damage in, 1, to hit max speed, and 2, obviously, just to kill our opponents. Next up, because we're being so proactive in this deck, we need some protection. So we've got this Shelter card here, we've got Spellskite, and we've got the Hydroelectric Specimen. Absolutely fantastic cards. 2 of these are MDFCs, so obviously remember MDFCs are lands first in my opinion. So yeah, only play these if you've made your land drop per turn. If you've not made your land drop, play these as a land. Unless you're on turn 8 or 9 and then you just need this interaction. So let's quickly just talk about our tutors, because they're going to be the things that let us get what we need in our hand to win the game at that specific point. So we're running Fabricate, Repurposing Bay, Transit Mage and Trophy Mage. There's a whole suite of these mages that you could run if you wanted, allowing you to get artifacts of different value. Transit Mage lets you get 4 and 5. 5 is kind of the key one for this deck because there's only one 5 mana one, which is our Sky Sovereign. And there's a second one I contemplate adding, it'll be in the considering section down below. We can use that to Repurposing Bay into our Cyberdrive Awakener, allowing us to Alpha Strike an opponent down or the entire table down if needed. But yeah, Repurposing Bay is going to be a fantastic card in this deck, allowing us to skip through the artifacts as of when we need them. This is also one of the reasons why we're running so much ramp, because we want to make sure we can cast something like this and activate it on the same turn no matter when it comes down. So the big key section, I guess, is the combo section for some people. If not, it was the combat section before. But yes, combos. Sensei's Divine Top, Mirror Retriever, Galarian Fleshraker, Mirian Spy, Mirrodin Besiege, Scrap Trawler, Clark Clan Ironworks, Mystic Forge, and Phyrexian Metamorph. Yeah, Phyrexian Metamorph's in here because basically it's going to be any of these cards. There are a couple of other cards that synergize with these combo pieces as well, but these are the key main ones that are basically going to allow us to draw all of our cards in our library, make a bunch of mana, infinite ETBs and LTB triggers, and yeah, basically just storm off and win the game. Yeah, I'm going to put a link down to all the combos rather than spend the next half an hour explaining them all down in the description. So go check that out if you want to know all the combos. And if you want, you can also just copy the deck list from Moxfield and paste it into Commander Spellbook, and that will tell you everything as well that you need to know. So lastly, let's talk about the lands. There's just a couple of key ones to point out, and that's the Academy Ruins and the Raceways. All 3 Raceways are in here, as well as the Artifact lands that I've got in here. There's a couple of cycling lands as well, just to enable us to draw through our deck, but we are running loads and loads of dual lands in here to make sure we can cast Mendicant Core on turn 2. Yeah, absolutely fantastic to get max speed started on turn 2, especially if we can get a 1 drop down on turn 1, then max speed started off, or start your engines I should say, on turn 2. But obviously if we hit the Raceways, we can get that started on turn 1 as well, enabling us to get to the point where we can copy all of these artifacts easy peasy with our max speed ability. So let's talk about that max speed now. So max speed, how are we going to use it in this deck? First off, we're going to cast our commander on turn 2 to get the start your engines going to start max speed. If our commander then dies, don't worry about it. You don't need him again until you are at max speed, which is 4. Yeah, once you're at 4 max speed, you can then recast your commander and start copying every artifact that you cast. Remember, we've got plenty of ramp, we've got plenty of artifact creatures, artifacts themselves, yeah, so we're going to be able to duplicate our board and make a massive board state pretty easy, and that's one of the ways we're going to be able to overwhelm our opponents. And then obviously, once we get our Cyberdrive down, everyone's dead. So onto the stats. As you can see, we've got a lovely mana curve, sort of. We've got the 1s, 2s, 3s and 4s, which flow nicely. And then we've just got nothing for 5, 6 and 7s. This is because I've altered the mana cost for the mana curve of the everything with improvise, essentially, or affinity for artifacts, because we have got so many artifacts out into play. We are never going to be casting them for like 7, 8 or 9 mana, 10 mana, that type of stuff. They're always just going to be their base colour cost, so that's reduced this curve right down. Yeah, as you can see, we've got 21% white, but we're running 43% of our lands as white. We've got 44% on blue, and 75% of our lands are producing blue, so we're well covered on those two fronts. Obviously 41% of our deck is colourless, 15% of our lands produce colourless, but it's okay, we can pay for that with our coloured mana. The average mana value of our deck is sitting at 2.79 without lands, so it's not the fastest, but you know, it's still pretty good. It's under 3, which is very nice. And yeah, it's just nice and easy. We've got interaction on turns 1, 2, 2, turn 3, turn 4. Nothing after that, but obviously remember, most of your interaction spells, your instants and stuff like that, you're not necessarily casting them on that turn. You're probably casting them 1 or maybe 2 turns later. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. Love it. Nice and simple, nice, clear, easy. Do your thing. Just remember your combo lines. And there we have it. That is my rendition of the Mendicant Core Guidelight, or Core Copy as I'm calling it. So just a few things to note is make sure you're casting your commander on turn 2. You'll start the engines going so you get up to max speed as quick as possible. Yeah, obviously don't worry if your commander dies. We have got ways of protecting him, but also just protect your key pieces. Yeah, following on from that, just recast your commander once you've got up to max speed, copy all your stuff, and you're laughing, really. That's it. Easy peasy. Other things you could do with this deck is to fine tweak it more for combo or for less combo, depending on how you want to take it, I guess. There is loads of ways to break artifacts, especially when you're running something like KCI. You know, you can just get stuff in and out of the graveyard while generating loads and loads of mana. And then when you can start playing everything from the top of your deck, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Because we are playing a few cards that cast from the top of the deck, you might want to consider running things like Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, even like the Flooded Strand, stuff like that, to make sure you can then shuffle your library should you need to. Yeah, and that's it. You can also run something like Feldon's Cane as well, which I believe puts all your graveyard back into your library and then shuffles it. But, you know, you might want to keep your graveyard if you want to target things specifically. Who knows? Depends on how you want to play it. Yeah, and there we go. Medicant Core Guidelight, absolutely fantastic card. I love the fact that we've actually got a 2-mana commander actually. Most of the commanders we've seen lately I feel like have been really good. Have all been the 4-5 mana mark, especially at the pre-con world. So yeah, having a nice solid 2-mana commander is just great, and it's artifact synergies, so broken combos, love it. And it's blue, if it's my needs. Yeah, speaking of Aether Drift commanders as well, next week I am doing a whole video on a vehicle commander. So if you want to see that, the link for it will be up here. But if it's not out yet, then it'll be something else. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll speak to you soon, and goodbye for now.